Here we go. So fresh off community day, we've got the Myteam blog for NBA 2K24, and I just thought I'd run through it quickly. Let's take a look at the blog. It's, you know, for a lot of people, this is make or break. So let's see. I'm gonna try and be unbiased. I'm gonna try and be balanced. Let's have a look at everything. Try and figure out what it means and then see how we feel about it. So the headline says Myteam is back with more rewards, cards, packs, and modes to experience than ever before. So it sounds like it's gonna be more expansive. The key word that I like there is rewards, because that was a huge thing that was missing from 23. So hopefully that is the case. We'll find out as we keep reading, I guess. It also says we're going to get changes to seasons and XP. We'll find out what that means. That sounds exciting. And the all-new salary cap mode, which, guys, I haven't been able to figure out what that means at all. So I'm really curious to find out what that is. So the first paragraph is about Myteam points and gem colors. It says here that MT is basically going to be easier to earn. Again, it was a huge problem in 23. Hopefully that is what it is. You know, it says basically doubled for most Myteam players. I don't know what most Myteam players is, but ultimately, if there's more MT available in the game, that's huge. It was a real frustration of mine for last year. That's really big straight out the gate. In addition to that, it does say you get more MT for just playing the game, which is something I've just wanted to see for a long time. It's great to get MT from different agendas and things like that, but really we need to be earning a lot more core currency from just playing games, and it sounds like that's where we're gonna go. Now, the next paragraph is really big for me. It basically says that the gem tiers are gonna be capped at diamond in season 1. We know that was a problem last year. You know, everyone basically had a pink diamond day 2 last year, and it kind of set the pacing off in a really bad way for the year. Capping them at diamonds, and it says we're only gonna get a handful. That's big, that's a really big deal. So we'll get much better pacing out the gate. Hopefully we can maintain that for the rest of the year. So next up we've got, basically if you order the Mamba edition, you get a 5-player option pack, which includes, you know, different gem tiers. It will basically give you a boost. I'll be honest, guys, with starter cards, I'm not that fussed. You know, within a week or so, usually they're out of most people's squads. So I'm not too fussed about it. So the next thing it says is with the Pro Pass or Hall of Fame Pass, you do get a Ruby Giannis. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this. We saw with my career that Mike said quite clearly that when there's not going to be a kind of competitive advantage. I'd like to see that on my team as well. Although it does say shortly after that the free pass season level awards do surpass all of these. So let's see. Hopefully we maintain that for the whole year. If they do throw in a card to the Pro Pass now and then, that's fine, as long as the free content is far, far superior, and that's what this is saying, but it needs to be that way, it needs to stay that way. One of the things it says is because level 40 ends at a diamond, because the pacing is gonna be a lot slower, that it means, you know, things like golds and emeralds will be more usable basically early in the year. Again, we'll find out, we'll see how usable those cards are when they get there, but if that is the case, again, that's a positive, that's a good thing. Those gem tiers have been largely redundant for at least a year. So let's see what we get this year. Really interesting image here. We've got Tatum and Embiid, both at 85, both superstars in the league that capped at 85. Again, that's a good sign in terms of pacing. Reminder that we all were running 96 overalls second day of last year. This is a much better spot to be in. Now, guys, the next thing here is huge, right? So it says it's a new player market. Now, I'll be honest, I don't entirely know what this means. I'm trying to understand it. I don't know if it means the auction house has gone, but it's basically saying you get direct access to buying any card and potentially selling any card. So I don't know how this works. It still says, you know, mode and play reward cards, there's only one way to get them, which is by completing the objectives to get them. But when it comes to just adding a player to your collection, it literally says it will grant access to almost any player card available. I don't know what this means. Let's keep reading. So it says community feedback is in action here. Now, I am feeling that with a lot of this. Obviously, I've had a lot of conversations with them, and I'm starting to feel like a lot of that stuff has been listened to. There's probably people that feel different, but that is what it is. Right now, it's saying that cards were gatekept by the auction house last year, and that's not going to be the case this year. Again, that's huge. Access to these cards is so important to me. You know, it always feels like people are playing two different games. Some people, you know, low on MT, low on money, and they're having just a completely different gaming experience to everyone else. So again, it comes down to how accessible they are. How expensive are they going to be? If a million MT cards from last year are going to go for like 100K, that's a net positive for everyone. One thing I like here is 2K acknowledged that this was far from a fair system last year, which it was. It wasn't a fair system last year. So let's see if they've really taken those steps to address that and how accessible these cards are going to be. The pricing is going to dictate all of this. You know, it's a great idea, but how expensive are they going to be? And the next thing, guys, is nuts. And to be honest, I saw this coming. This was one of my predictions for this year. You can buy MT in the game. Again, absolutely massive. We know what happened last year. I'm not going to go over it, but they're allowing us to buy MT directly. So you could buy these players that go straight into your collection with either VC or MT. And it says if you're short on MT, you can literally buy MT from 2K. We know why this has happened. I don't need to talk about it, but it's here now. One more additional thing here. It seems like you get a discount if you buy the entire set. Again, I like it. If you want to add the whole set, if you're a collector and you want to buy your way, you know, most collectors, not all, but most collectors do buy their way. to that collection reward if they're getting a discount to buy the whole set. That's a W. Okay, guys, so I think this bit answers the big question I had. Is the auction house just gone? It looks like it's gone, guys. It looks like there's only one way to buy and sell players, which is directly from the prices at 2K set. I don't know what this is going to mean long term. You know, things like sniping, it's all dead. There's huge parts of the game that have just basically died off. But is the alternative going to be better again? Once we find out the prices, we'll know. This is kind of cool. It says there's a revolving deal of the day. So I guess what that means is that different points of the day, different cards are going to be on sale. I'm assuming that'll be with MT as well as VC. So it might be worth waiting, you know, if there is a card you want, waiting for that point where that discount hits. So the next paragraph here basically says that, you know, it's going to be easier to search for players. It says you can even search, you know, what part of the salary cap mode they fit into. So the search filter seemed to be improved. And there you see it. That answers my next question. How do you sell players? You can see the sale price there. If you pick up this 87 Patrick Ewing, he sells for 28K. So it is all going to be fixed pricing, guys. And I do genuinely believe that this is going to create a fairer playing field. We know some of the issues in the past and some of the advantages and disadvantages that come with third-party stuff that's been going on. It looks like it's all dead. Let's be honest, empty sites have just died. It seems like there's no way to actually transfer this stuff. It looks like it's GG's to that stuff, and everyone will be on a level playing field next year. So there's a bit of a breakdown of the sale aspect of these cards here. It says that Ruby cards will be sold for 25,000 MT, that everything's sold for way more than it's ever sold for. Now that's great, but it's relative, let's be honest. If the cards are going for 1 million MT, then getting 25K back isn't a huge deal. So it really comes down to how fair the pricing is of those cards when you buy them. That's really what I want to see. That's the big question I want to answer right now. Guys, the next thing is big. I really like this. Card grading, let's be honest, it was a gimmick. It didn't really mean anything. And one thing I said quite a few times, even on the podcast last year, is we need to make it mean something. So there's two things here. One, getting a higher grade means your card will sell for more. Bear in mind, there's no auction house, so it's just going to literally increase the price of that card. And you can regrade them as well. So I think this makes it more fun. I'm sure there's people in the community that are going to make this their kind of brand and make it their goal this year to get, you know, all flawless collection. And, you know, they're going to be able to do that. You can regrade the cards, they can keep doing that as many times as they want. That's cool. I like that. That's a big improvement on a redundant gimmick. So there's a lot to unpack here with the pack market. So there's a few different things here. So equal chance and option packs are coming back again. Again, that's a big deal. That's something we wanted to see come back. That's huge. It also talks about this new Prime box where these five pack boxes, and it basically guarantees you a top tier card from that set. Now the question here is, will there be waiting within the waiting, right? If there's 5 really good cards, but one isn't that desirable, is it more likely to pop out? So what are the odds within the odds? But on the surface, this seems really good. They've also added a Hoff badge will be included in each box. Again, great. And again, guys, a redundant gimmick brought to life here, it seems like. So holos now, if you do pull a holo, it has an automatic value of over 100,000 MT. This is what we needed to make holos relevant, to make anyone even care about them outside of holo collectors. This is a really big deal. I like this. This is the second time they've taken what is a redundant gimmick and made it relevant in the game. So the next bit here talks about how pricing is going to change. This is one of the questions I had. You know, if a card is 100,000 MT on the second season of the game, is it still going to be 100,000 in the 8th season of the game? The answer is no. So 2K are going to continuously reduce their prices. Now this is interesting because if you take a card like Tim Thomas, who was a lock-in, and DeRozan and Kareem, you know, over the next couple of months, their prices would have gone down, which would have made that card way more accessible. Think about the fact DeRozan was still going for 500K plus for 2 months. That's the situation we can now avoid. Again, as long as the pricing is fair, this should be a net positive for everyone. Now, interesting note here. So if you basically pull a duplicate of like a reward card or an unsellable card, something out of a locker code, these are unauctionables, I guess, from last year. Their value is not going to be as high as the other cards we're talking about. It says it's going to be similar to previous years. Not great. I'm going to keep reading the blog. Hopefully there is something else we can do, and you know, there's an exchange or some sort we can use them for to get more value out of them. Okay guys, another very welcome change for me. I'll be honest, my least favorite thing about this game is agendas. I'm just gonna say it black and white. It's the thing I've hated about this game since XP existed. Having to sit there getting 30 rebounds with a player doesn't interest me at all. They have changed it. You get XP for just playing the game. I know not a single person that read that has an issue with it. That's what we need. We need to just load up, play how we want to play whatever modes we want to play, play and generate XP. It also mentions there'll be double XP similar to the park. Very welcome change for me. A minor thing about dynamic goals, basically they are relevant. Again, this is something that's been in the game for years and has been meaningless. I don't think anyone's ever done a dynamic goal for 300 MT, but you can do it for bonus XP now. So I think people will start doing this a little bit more. Hopefully it's a worthwhile boost. I'm assuming people will start doing these now. As expected, guys, cross progression is back. Nothing exciting there. If you're completing things on PS4, it'll translate to PS5. Let's keep it moving. So here's a look at the level 1 card. It's a free agent LeBron. I mean, I've never used a free agent card. Let's see how many games they get. If it's still 5 games, I'll be honest, guys, I probably won't use it, but it's pretty consistent with last year at this point. So a quick look at basically the ladder to level 40. So it says as you progress, you'll get prize balls. We had them last year. Pretty cool introduction, actually. Went a bit under the radar last year, so we'll get them. You'll get rewards from them. Ascension board is back. I'm not a huge fan of the Ascension board. I'll be honest, it's a bit too RNG for me. We'll have a look at it once it arrives and we can see what it looks like and the chances are like. Spinner wheel, again, seems a bit more RNG. Featuring last year's NBA All-Stars, is it guaranteed or is it a chance? That's the question I want answered. If it's guaranteed cards, then fine. If every spot on that wheel is filled, then great. If it's RNG, I'm not interested. And then the standard kind of, filler uniforms, season balls, etc. You can get double XP coins as well. Okay, again, this is interesting. So everything's basically connected to Kobe. Obviously, he's the cover star. I love this stuff. I love themes. We've been missing it for a long time. Seasons really haven't had meanings, and there's been sort of players that outline the season but are relevant to the season, if you know what I mean. It sounds as a bit more consistency. It looks like, Kobe is going to be the cover athlete, and you're going to get players and coaches and everything else that's linked to him. The level 40 is Kyrie. That's interesting. I'm not going to say why exactly yet. In a few days, you'll find out why that's interesting. That Kyrie card's going to be really, really good. So here we get to look at the difference between the free pass and the pro pass and the Hall of Fame pass. Again, this is something I'm really passionate about. I want to see how it plays out. Is it going to be a competitive advantage or not? Right now, it looks like no. It looks like you get an alternate artwork of Kyrie, which is great. That's fantastic. That's a really good way to do this. No competitive advantage. You're just paying for cosmetics, basically. It does say you'll get double XP points, ascension picks. There is MT and VC, but if you're paying for MT and VC, I'm okay with that. As long as it's not gate-kept cards exclusively to those premium season passes, I'm okay with it. This definitely puts my mind at ease quite a bit from where I was maybe a few days ago. Now, this is interesting. Now, dare I say, it sounds like a mini trophy case. Let me explain what I mean. Basically, if you complete everything, including level 40, it says Ruby player rewards from each mode, so it sounds like those are going to be the rewards. And seasonal tokens, again, I don't really know what that means. I don't think that's been explained. Hopefully, we'll find out. But it basically all locks in for Diamond Brandon Roy. First of all, amazing to see Brandon Roy back in the game. But there is like an ultimate reward. That's what they call it. It's the ultimate reward. You get everything done and you get Brandon Roy. So if you are like, a predominantly offline player, online player, maybe it's going to incentivize you a little bit more to do everything else and get to that Brandon Roy, because I'm sure that card is going to be absolutely crap. I don't see a scenario where that Brandon Roy isn't the best card in the game at the end of season 1. Okay, well, this answers the question I just asked. Tokens. So they are back. 2K have quite clearly acknowledged the issues with tokens. The most useless thing in this game for years. They've said it. There were 2 available and nothing to do with them. That's all been fixed. The key thing here, guys, and I'm sure everyone is celebrating this, we got player rewards back for tokens. We needed it. Last year made no sense. This year we're just going back to getting players, and hopefully, as the year progresses, we can go back to some of those legendary token cards. A slight note here, I kind of missed this as I read it the first time, but it says all tokens will now expire by the end of each season, so you basically have to spend them. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, we need to make sure there's enough value. If you're going to force us to use them in the season, there needs to be enough value beyond whatever, like if you've got every player, what do you then do with those tokens? So they're stopping us hoarding them because I guess that is a visual issue for them. But there needs to be value. There needs to be a lot of value. If you're going to make me spend 1,000 tokens, there needs to be something worth spending 1,000 tokens on. This is interesting, guys. Now, I'm going to start by saying I'm not a fan of RNG at all. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of RNG at all, especially after last year. Now, this doesn't talk about odds and things like that. Hopefully, we see significant improvements to RNG odds. The goose chase is done. We're all over it. So let's see how they implement this. But what this really means is the ball drops, the vault, the spin, the wheel spins, all of that stuff. Any of it could pop up after any game mode. So you could play clutch time and get a ball drop. You can play TTO and get the wheel spin. I don't know, guys. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm just not a fan of the RNG stuff. The bigger thing that I see here is the Triple Threat Online has been adjusted to work more like single player, i.e. 250 wins and there's a ladder. I'm assuming that's basically what it is. I'm down for that. Triple Threat Online was redundant last year. It wasn't a mode worth playing. If there's good rewards on that ladder, when it says it's like Triple Threat Offline, I hope what that doesn't mean is the rewards aren't very good. I'm hoping the online rewards will be way better than the offline rewards this year. So yeah, could be good. Could be a good reason to play. I really enjoyed playing Triple Threat Online, but didn't have a reason to play it last year. So hopefully this is that reason. Okay, so there will still be agendas. That's what this next paragraph says. Is that there will be agendas, but they won't be in relation to XP because obviously we get XP by just playing the game now. What they will be is for cards. So it'll be things like the 2-week events we've seen before, or like specific game mode reward cards that you get from agendas. It'll be that kind of stuff. Again, is good. It's a good addition. I like to see the agendas still there, and I like to see them for something more direct. I didn't like agendas for XP. I don't mind agendas if it gives me a card. It's good stuff. I like it. So we're getting into salary cap and multiplayer. The first thing it talks about here is crossplay. Now, I'm super excited about crossplay. It is still, despite everything I've read so far, the thing I'm most excited about. I cannot wait to get into co-op, play with some people I know on Xbox next year. It's going to be a lot of fun. The one thing it does note here, it kind of answers a question that I had, is crossplay just going to be you find matchups on the other console, but you can actually team up with those people as well, which is super cool. It does say that crossplay will create shorter queues of matchmaking as well. It absolutely will. Hopefully both consoles are, flooded with players this year, and it will make matchmaking seamless. That's really where we want to get to. Right, we get into salary cap a little bit here, and the first thing, actually, it doesn't say this, but the first thing I take from this is seasons will be 6 weeks again, because it talks about 3 2-week seasons. That's how salary cap's going to work, and it's going to have a leaderboard. It's going to have different salary limits and rewards every couple of weeks. If you earn all 3, if you complete it all 3 weeks, you get Amethyst, Victor Oladipo. Sounds like a good reward to me. Okay, so now the next bit, I'll be honest, this is the most concerning thing I've seen so far from my side. This basically talks about Supermax. It talks about the salary cap mode being based on rarity. This is not something I really wanted to see, to be honest. I kind of felt like we would get there because otherwise they're basically just recreating limited, but we're gonna have to see how this plays out. I feel less confident about this. I think this could get really messy, to be honest. So another addition with salary cap is we basically got the all-star rules for the game. It's going to be a normal half, and then it's going to be chase the score basically to see out the game. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm assuming this really comes down to how easy it is to score, because if it's very easy to score, then the games are going to be pretty short. If it's difficult to score, they might take even longer. It could go either way, really, but I'm assuming they'll be shorter. It's an interesting concept. I like it. I don't like 5-minute quarters. I'm bored of that. So anything that's outside of that, I'm happy to give a shot and try. I don't know how it's going to go though, if I'm being honest. Okay, then maybe the biggest news. I mean, the biggest news in the sense that something's gone. We're really watching this blog to see what's new, but Draft Unlimited are gone. It says salary cap joining Unlimited, which means there will be an Unlimited mode coming as well that we're going to chat about, I'm assuming, in a second. But Draft Unlimited are gone. Good. They were terrible modes. Limited was one of my favorite modes, and it just got forgotten. I'm not upset to see them leave. Let me know if you are. Drop it below if they were your favorite modes, if you enjoyed playing them. Salary cap sounds like a better mode than limited already. So we have our new unlimited format. Basically, it's the NBA finals, isn't it? I like it. I like it. I really like this. This is how it should go. It's weekly, which is the biggest thing. They're basically taking the rings from limited and putting them in unlimited, but they're guaranteed. Don't worry, no RNG. Open the door and find out what's going on. The big thing about this, however you feel about this, the most important thing to understand here is this is so achievable and not draining, right? And this is the problem we've had with Unlimited for so long. Either it's been unachievable for a huge part of the community, or it's been achievable and completely draining to complete. Winning 4 out of 7 games is completely achievable for everyone. Even if you're struggling to do it, you can just get multiple runs at it. It's something you can sit and do in an evening once a week. I really like this. Now, I know the competitive side of the community is gonna want something more. The grinding side of the community probably wants more games. I don't know. For me, this is a really good balance. This is kind of what I wanted to see, to be honest. I actually predicted they would do 4-0 or 5-0, something like that. They've made it way more generous than that. This is something everyone should be able to do, but the most important thing here, guys, for me, is everyone's going to play Unlimited this year for the first time in years. A good note here as well, right at the end, it says missing a ring will not ruin your chances of success, so there's probably going to be some form of catch up. I don't really know how that's going to work, but again, good to see that if I go on holiday for 2 weeks, I don't have to write off that entire season. So it says here, we know TTO is coming back. This is the first time it kind of says Clutch Time Online, and Co-op's back as well. I guess we kind of knew all of that. Good to see Clutch Time back, probably my favorite mode. Let's see if it's my favorite mode this year. There is some exciting things here. I actually think Unlimited might be my favorite mode this year. But yeah, CTO's back, good to see. Okay, so the next thing 2K touch on here is early quits. So they brought back the kind of punishments for quitting early. Basically, you get restricted from joining the game. It's like a short-term ban for like an hour or two. Guys, we better get wins for those quits as well. I mean, look, if we're restricting it like this, there's no reason for us not to get the win. There's no reason. No one can spam this mechanic anymore. So no one can really boost if there's temporary restrictions. So we got to get the win. That's the important thing. I like the punishment for quits. I like it. I'll be honest. Don't load into a game online unless you want to play that game. But do we get the win? That's still got to be answered. We'll find out. We'll find out shortly, I guess. This is huge, guys. I literally had this conversation with someone 2 days ago at Community Day. Yeah, the custom courts, like the logos, jerseys and stuff. Look, there's a lot of stuff that's offensive. There's a lot of stuff I just don't want to see. But the courts can affect the game. We've seen courts where people basically eliminate the 3-point line, right? I'm really glad I will have that filter on. I'm not seeing anyone's custom stuff. I'm just going to play with the generic NBA stuff. Okay, so this is a big request. I guess it's been answered. Now, guys, I've commented on this a few times this year, and not in a good way. Look, first of all, I perfectly understand that there's people that are just completely gatekept from co-op, and there needs to be a way for them to just load up and play with randoms. And you've got that now. That's awesome. What does worry me? There is a thing that worries me about this, and I've been talking about this all year. Are we going to see a bunch of people loading up into these random games and just disappearing, going AFK? We need to see how this works. Obviously, they need to make sure that, you know, if someone is AFK, they get kicked from the game or whatever. But with XP on the line just for playing the game, I hope this doesn't just become an exploit. That's what really worries me here. Overall, obviously, it's a fantastic thing that everyone can play the mode and get involved. That's another dub. I'll be honest, guys, I'm going to be squadding up the whole year. Regardless, I will not play a single co-op game with randoms. But it's really good, really, really good that people who weren't really able to play that mode last year can get involved this year. Right, we've got Clutch Time information. The first thing it talks about is the court or the stadium or arena. It has a new mural. It has opera house style luxury boxes. Adds boxing in the competition around the court. I don't know what this means. There's a new arena. There's a new arena. That's what that means. 5-minute games as normal. Sudden death overtime as normal. 4-point line is back. Yeah. However, this year the shot clock for Clutch Time will be used a full 24 seconds. I hate that. I hate that. I'll be honest. I don't know. It's what I know people have advocated for it, and I don't like it. 14 seconds made Clutch Time fun. It made it high paced. It made it quick. It made it more engaging. I really liked it, and I actually was one of the people who hated the concept at the start. But it's fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. 24 seconds is fine. The Clutch Time kind of energy of last year won't be the same. It will be a little bit more drawn out and a bit more boring in my opinion. But a lot of people wanted it and it's there. Okay, so it talks a little bit about coaches now. So the Kobe, the Kobe coach card basically comes from Mamba Moments. Mamba Moments is going to be really easy, guys. I suggest everyone does that basically immediately when you get the game. Just get that out the way because there's things in there you're going to want. But basically coaches give you badge boosts. That's what they do now. That's the difference between this year and last year. They'll still give you stat boosts, but they'll give you badge boosts. And some of them will be like relevant to certain points in the game. So it talks about Kobe giving you a blinders boost in the 4th quarter of every game. So the next bit here, it kind of talks about some commentary updates. I'm not too fussed about that. The more important thing here that it talks about is the overlays. Obviously I've seen this happen. Yeah, it will show you updated stats with like an overlay. So if you've got to get like, I don't know, 50 points and 10 rebounds, it will continuously update you with an overlay, letting you know how close you are to those achievements. So this is pretty cool. It's a good introduction. I definitely found it helpful when playing the game. Okay, guys, so getting started and shattered prizes. So basically this year, you'll start a card, you'll pick the team and you'll get a player from that team. I'm going to be very interested to see whether people go for like the more meta card or they actually just go for their favorite team, because that's really what 2K are trying to achieve here. It does say you can get the other starter players and courts and everything else from completing current domination. Guys, domination is 2023. Listen, I understand domination has a role for certain people, and you know, people pick up the game, that's probably the main mode they play. I've got no interest in it. I won't be likely to go and collect these things, but domination is back, and yeah, if you get 2 stars, which I guess will be on one of the easier difficulties, you can get all the starter cards, and you know, for collectors it's a dub, isn't it? It is. Okay, the next thing is actually way more important than it might seem. I think one of the things that my team hasn't done well for a long time is onboarding people into the game, like giving them an introduction and teaching them how to do things. So this is basically you get an Emerald Derek Fisher and you have to go do things with that card, which basically really is a scavenger hunt to learn how to play the game, learn how to add shoes and badges and all of these different things. And if you do all of those things and you go on those quests, you get Sapphire Robert Horry. Decent card probably at this stage in the game. So you can see here it talks about these shattered prizes. And again, this is basically what we were just talking about, but it does say they can be in mini games. There will be an RNG element to this. It immediately makes this the least interesting thing I've seen, I'll be honest. Anything that relies on RNG, I'm unlikely to commit to at this stage in my kind of 2K journey, but it is there, and you know, if you want to do it, you can. It's another thing. I'm not too fussed about it because it seems quite fringe. It seems like the main rewards and everything else are significantly more important than this kind of RNG puzzle piece element of the game. I'm not massively interested in this. Again, a lot of this comes down to RNG odds. You know, if they're less than 1%, again, I'm not going to be interested in anything RNG related. So if this is accessible, if the RNG is, you know, reasonable, I'll engage in it. Quite a cool little image. It's not massively different to kind of murals and things like that we've had before, but it is a puzzle piece, RNG potentially involved portion of the game. So I'll see. This is a wait and see for me. This is interesting again, guys. So, you know, we've always been able to kind of save our lineups when it comes to a 13-man lineup, but you can do it with 3 and 5 players this time. So you can save different teams for triple threat and clutch time. It is a quality of life improvement. I'll be honest, it's not major. Like, my clutch time team tends to be whatever my best 5 players are at the time, so it's just a case of taking one player out and adding one in. But it's there if you want to do it, if you want to run challenges and set up a bunch of teams in advance, make videos, whatever. Not game changing, but it's a cool addition. Okay, so we've seen this for a while, right? We've seen the autofill option. Guys, it's probably going to be as bad as previous years. I mean, my game doesn't know my favorite 10 players, so it's very rare they're going to put them in. But there is a slight difference this time. So they've added kind of attribute-based stuff and team-based stuff, right? So if you just want the best 3-point shooters in your team, it'll fill that up. It'll literally pick the highest 3-point rated players in your team. But you can also just add players from a team, which this is a big one for me, you know? Doing spotlights in the past, trying to find, you know, 13 players from the Bucks just to fill out my team. It's so time-consuming. It's so unintuitive. I'll be using that a lot, you know, to get a team that's all from one team. You know, that's what I'll be using it for. Again, not game-changing, but a small quality of life improvement. I like to see that stuff. Okay, so a little bit here, again, a bit of a quality of life change. Basically, everything you can do to a card, whether it's badges, shoes, whatever, it all happens in the same place. That's what it is now. Again, it is cool. Evos, as you can see in the picture, in the same place. You know, I don't want to have to go scroll across to a completely different menu to go and check that Evo. All the information about each individual player is just going to be in one location. Again, it's better. It's not life-changing, but these quality of life improvements are going to start to add up. We're definitely going to feel them in the game, getting through things a little bit quicker. Okay, this is quite a cool little change here. So again, nothing groundbreaking, but again, just a bit of a quality of life improvement, which again, if you add these all up, it's really, you're going to feel this in the game. You're going to feel these quality of life improvements in the game. So shoe cards basically come with attributes now. That's what this means. You can overwrite them if you want, but you might luck out and get that money shoe right out the gate. So you're going to get attributes on them. You can then go and customize them if you want. Again, it just takes a step out the process. I like it. It's good. Okay, guys, this is a big one. This is a big one. Now, collector rewards have always been important in my team. Have they though? Have they? Not really. Last year they weren't. It was a fiasco. I'm really glad they addressed it. They had to address it. They absolutely had to address this in the blog. I'm glad they did it. And they did the best thing they could do. Kobe's a headlining card. That's great. It's available in Season 6. That's great. That's everything we need to know so we don't sit here worried. This is something I spoke to them directly about. I said things were so bad at the end of last year that there's a real scenario here when no one tries to do it next year. This is a conversation I had directly with them. They had to do this. They had to address it. That anyone who was going to think about doing collector wasn't put off by the fiasco of last year. So this is good. We know the card is. Kobe's a good reward. He'll be desirable, especially in Season 6. Good stuff. There's nothing majorly new here. There'll be 450 cards again. Obviously, that's the players in the NBA. They lock in for Ami, Bam, and Jamal Murray, and you get Pink Diamond, Michael Malone. Fine. Nothing groundbreaking there. Okay, it kind of tells you here what the first card is as well. So Sean Murray and a Diamond will be the kind of first collector level for 500 cards. You get Hall of Fame badges. I guess the collector level will be very similar. There'll be some decent cards. If you get them quickly enough, they'll have value. If you don't get them quickly enough, they're just another card. Now, maybe something that might go under the radar on this blog is it says here that new cards will be added multiple times a week. This isn't collector specific. I think this is just talking about the mode as a whole. And there's going to be 50 cards added for 2K Day. 2K Day last year is when we got our first pink diamond basically given to us from the trophy case. Multiple times a week is huge. We need content regularly, and that to me sounds like we're gonna get content more than 2 times a week, basically guaranteed. That's what we need. Hopefully 5 days minimum. That's what we're looking at. So the final remarks, I'm gonna give my own version of this. Guys, I'm very positive about this. I think there's a lot of quality of life stuff, which is actually the most important thing to me for this year was that. I just wanted to be able to move through the game easier and quicker, not feel like everything was a drag. I think they've made everything a little bit more condensed and manageable. I think there was so much time demand last year that I think a lot of people got to the point where they realized that if they can't finish something, it's not worth starting. I really like what they've done with Unlimited. There's a lot of gimmicky stuff in here that's come to life. Last year, there was just a lot of gimmicks on this blog. This year, they're talking about the gimmicks, but how they've made them relevant, like card grading and hollows and things like that seem to be more effective. No auction house. There's a lot of stuff we got to see how things work out. I don't really know what the reality of some of this stuff is. I don't know what the cards are going to be priced like. It's a whole new game. This is the thing, guys. I've obviously played the game twice now, and it is a whole new game in terms of gameplay. This feels like a new Myteam. It feels like an evolution. It feels like the biggest change for me probably since I've been playing the game. And I'm excited to get into it. Don't be afraid to be excited, guys. I know people are going to tell you to be pessimistic. People are going to tell you to be worried. If you're going to dislike the game, if you're going to hate the game, you'll hate the game anyway. Don't be miserable till then. Allow yourself to get excited by this stuff. And let's see if it kind of backs up, because on paper, this is a good read. I really like it. The one big takeaway I'm getting from this is I'm more likely to make content on this stuff next year. Things like streaming, like doing an unlimited run in a stream, is something that no one really wanted to do this year. And again, it's a core part of the mode. Feels like it's been brought back to life. I think content's going to be more exciting. I think it's going to be regular. And with my plan already this year to kind of lock in for the first time and make daily content for the whole year, this feels like a game I can really do that with. Hopefully, it lives up to the hype. There it is.